The Galaxy Watch Ultra and Galaxy Watch 7 are here. I've spent 48 hours with Samsung's new watches, so let's get into it. Now, this is not a full review. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already and stay tuned for that. So in 2 days, I'm not really able to do a full deep dive into all of this because we need a lot more data about sleep, activity, and battery testing, of course, but here are some answers to your most burning questions. Let's start with the design and the fit. Now, the Ultra is the big new watch, Samsung's first Galaxy Watch to get the Ultra branding, and the look is, well, I initially called it unique, but I think it's actually now more polarizing. The squircle design, or really it's called a cushion case, is either something you're going to love or hate. Sounds odd to say, but I think it actually looks better in real life than it does in photos and videos. It doesn't photograph that well. And the white version is my favorite. That's the one I initially tried on in the demo room. The one here that I have in for review is the titanium gray with the orange marine band. Now, my wrist is 152 millimeters and it does feel quite big on me. And also, you know by now, the bezel around the screen doesn't move. This is the Galaxy Watch 7 on my wrist. It fits a lot better. It's the 40 millimeter smaller size, and it is more comfortable to wear, especially when doing things like sleep tracking. But of course, then you'll lose out on the tough construction and bigger battery on the Ultra. But apart from those two things, these watches are actually way more similar than you might think. Very much how like the Watch 5 and the Watch 5 Pro were pretty much the same under the hood, apart from that construction and a couple of extra tools like TrackBack. There are some new watch faces on the Ultra, like Ultra Analog, Simple Ultra, Ultra Info Board, and more. There's also a night mode option available on them, and you can set that to be on all the time, or so it comes on automatically. A nice touch on both the Ultra and the 7 is that you don't need to wake up the always on display to select stuff anymore. So if it's inactive, just tap on the item you want to launch, and it launches. That's kind of a nice touch. The quick button is here on the side, and it doesn't rotate like a crown, by the way, it is just a button. By default, it's set to launch the workout menu, but you can go into the settings and change it. So here you'll see that there is either a stopwatch option, a flashlight, and a water lock. And you can also long press the button to get to the siren. And you can also customize the actions on all the other buttons. Yes, I immediately changed the top button from the Bixby default to activate the power off menu. The double pinch action is on this watch, so you can do this to answer calls, dismiss alerts, play and pause music on your phone, or just take a photo with the camera. But you do have to turn this on. This is not on by default. Find that in the settings under buttons and gestures. One big new feature on these watches is sleep apnea detection, so to set this up, you will need to have the Samsung Health Monitor app on your phone. And know that this is a feature exclusive to Galaxy phones, so even though you can pair these watches with any Android device, the sleep apnea detection needs this app, which is only on Galaxy devices, unless you want to sideload, but that's another conversation. Once you go through and activate the sleep apnea detection, it needs 2 nights of sleep data as a minimum, and it will give you a notification if it detects something abnormal. Then there's the energy score. This is actually really nice, and it's taking into account things like your activity and sleep. But I haven't got any of the AI recommendations yet, like wellness tips. That's going to take at least a few more nights of data and a few more workouts, so stay tuned for that. I'm looking forward to seeing if that actually helps give some actionable insights, or if it's just going to be pretty generic and obvious stuff. One element on the Ultra I'm really excited to test out is the new functional threshold power feature for cycling. This is the maximum level of intensity that you can maintain for an hour, so the Galaxy Watch Ultra can actually calculate your maximum power in just 4 minutes, compared to, say, a 20-minute or an hour test you usually need to do. But for this, you will need to connect to a power meter from your bike, go really hard for 4 minutes, and then it should hopefully automatically calculate. The Ultra has the biggest battery of any Galaxy Watch so far, but if you're familiar with earlier Galaxy Watches, you'll know it takes a few days to a week to really get to learn your usage habits and calibrate. So stay tuned for the full review for the real-world battery performance numbers. Okay, some bad news about charging that I've just discovered in my first 48 hours. Reverse wireless charging from a Samsung phone is gone. This is a huge downside for me. I've always loved topping up the Galaxy Watch when I've been away from a charger. Here is the support page confirming that change. Apparently it's because of the design of the new bioactive sensor, so now the watch doesn't sit flush against the back of the phone. I've tried to push the watch down firmly and held it in place just to test it out. It kind of gives you the buzz, it starts charging, but then it gives you an error message. I am so sad about this, First you take my rotating bezel and then you take my wireless charging. What are you doing to me? Okay, I've got lots more testing to get into and stuff to get over, obviously. But let me know what else you want to know about the watches and I'll get into it in the full review. Thanks so much for watching and I will catch you next time. See ya!